question many Canadian beekeepers have had to ask themselves over the last several years. This is because of the increased mortality rates of bees. This is due to the common use of the insecticide neonicotinoids. But we have many proud beekeepers and winemakers across Nova Scotia who are dedicated to building awareness for Canadian honeybees. How long have you been a beekeeper?
I've been keeping bees about 17 years. Yep.
Why do you think bees are important?
Basically for the pollination. I mean, again, we talked before, when you think of honeybees, the first thing that pops to mind is honey. And it's great, it's the world's most ethical sweetener. But bees serve a much more important function, one that most people don't realize, and that's pollination. Without pollination, we would lose about 1/3 of what we eat. And it would be a pretty bland diet. It would be pretty sad. So it's very, very important. That's probably the most, I mean, they evolved at the same time flowers did. If you think about it, one won't exist without the other. So, yeah. Who lives down in the States, I mean, what other form of farming can you do where you lose 1/3 of your livestock every year? You know, I mean, this last year we've done rather well. We're back to historical norm for overwintering. But I mean, if it was hogs or cows or chickens and you were losing 1/3 of your livestock every year, I mean, it'd be an emergency. But with honeybees, they don't tend to look at it that way. So if the CCD if there's any bright point to it, it's that it's brought the public's attention to the problems that we have. And it's not just honeybees, it's all pollinators.
No, that's next to us. Okay, sorry, okay.
Hey, my name is John McClarty, and I'm one of the owners of Planters Ridge Winery.
So what is Bees and Vines?
Bees and Vines was an event that we created to try to celebrate wine made both from our grapes that we grow on the property, but also the wine that we make from honey. And we originally started to make mead. Our wines are typically they're dry wines or off dry wines, and we don't really make a lot of sweet wines. We don't make ice wine here. So, but there's a certain portion of the population that like a little sweeter wine. So we chose to make mead. So it's a very unique product, and it has a long history. So we wanted to try to create an event around here to celebrate the wine from both sources, from both grapes and bees. And we have a great honey supplier, Perry Brandt from Brandt's Bees, and he's really passionate about his product. He's as passionate about his bees and honey as we are about our grapes. So it's a really great match, and what we're really trying to do is create a signature event, something that we can hold every year to celebrate both, and they're all products from the valley, so it really makes a lot of sense. Here to celebrate Nova Scotia's agriculture and make products from Nova Scotia based raw materials. So that's why we chose Nova Scotia products. Started off making a mead, and we didn't know what to call it, so we called it Kaylee's Blend. This is after our golden retriever, because she's a nice golden color. So that's why we called it that. But then we changed it up a little bit the second time we made mead. So we wanted to give it, we made it a little bit sweeter. We wanted to call it something different. So we searched for a name, and we thought of Valley Nectar, and nectar, of course, after the honey, and then Valley because it's a Valley product. Certainly, we've been somewhat aware of some of the health or hive issues that have been happening over the years, and beehives struggling, and bees are extremely important in the food chain. I did have a small hobby orchard in Ontario. It was only an acre, and it was something that I looked after when I was working. And I guess I became much more aware of what they do during that period of time, because it was just a small orchard, just a hobby. And so for a couple of years, I didn't, we just let natural pollination, the one time I brought in a beehive, and because everybody said you could do much better than that, so I rented a beehive, and what I saw happening was just amazing. I was, standing in the canopy of the trees, and you're totally surrounded by bees, and I couldn't believe how many bees there were, and to see what was being done. So I think I became more aware of bees and what they do at that stage, and then when we started this winery, so we wanted to try something different, and that's why we ended up choosing honey as a secondary source. No, it's the more we I guess work with some of these products, and the more we learn, it really does open up a lot of horizons. And I'm now learning more about bees and meat as well. A lot of it made here in Nova Scotia or Atlantic provinces, for that matter. And I think there's a huge opportunity to really make good product using honey, and at the same time, I mean, this education session that we did yesterday with the bees and vines, Perry, I mean, he was extremely excited. Just because I asked him at the end of the day, were you happy with the event? Because we wanted him here because he was a supplier, and he was going to help to show the bees and demonstrate that. But he was elated, because he said, I've had my opportunity to tell my story about the bees and how important they are and the problems that they face, and so that was really interesting for him to see.
What would you tell about future generations about bees and like beekeeping and stuff?
Future generations, get involved. Get involved. Become beekeepers.
Yeah.
You go to a lot of beekeeper meetings right now, and I'm young. We need young people to get involved and get interested in it. It's hard work. It's not easy. It's hot and sweaty, but you know what? You get your winters off. There's not much you can do in the wintertime except worry. I mean, we all worry. I don't care how many years you can keep bees. You worry during the wintertime. But I mean, look what I do.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better in this.
Yeah.
To conclude, Canadian honeybees and Canadian beekeepers face many problems, but with the involvement of the entire community and building awareness to issues pertaining to bees, and building and strengthening the connection between bees and wine, we can keep bees buzzing.